You're a business owner and you're not quite sure how to scale. Well, you're in the right place. Today we're going to talk about how to grow your business as an entrepreneur. First, you're going to uncover the number one thing that's holding most entrepreneurs back from scaling, and believe it or not, it's not money. You'll identify the constipated areas of your business and figure out how to get them unplugged. And I'm even going to show you my resources for getting more done in the day while spending less of your time. I hope you're ready. Let's go. Would you consider yourself a type A personality? Disproportionately, entrepreneurs rate themselves as someone who really has to get things done their way, a certain way. Many of us may have even been taught that if you want something done right, you do it yourself. Exactly. You could finish that for me. But that's actually the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs make, and that is not focusing on revenue generating activities. What are revenue generating activities? Those are those things that we have to do to grow the business, but it really are those things that create the revenue. So that might be some of the sales relationship components, that's developing IP. Those are the things that we may have to do that would help us actually grow the business and actually increase revenue. Do you know what doesn't grow your business? You creating contracts yourself, you booking flights, you doing any of that administrative work. That doesn't help you grow the business. In fact, even if you have a larger business, there are probably still things that you have on your plate that you have because you just feel a strong attachment to it that someone else probably can do at least as good, if not even better. Now, they may not be doing it your way, but they're still doing it a good way. And remember, 96% is still an A, especially if freeing up your time allows you to increase the revenue for your organization. So how do you get started in giving up some of these non-revenue generating activities? That's probably the question you're asking yourself if you haven't passed out because the thought of you handing off some of the things that you hold dear has freaked you out. Well, one of the things you want to do is start creating a list of the items that you do every single day. Create this list for at least a week's time. Start looking at all the little things that you're doing, from checking your emails to returning client calls. Maybe you're creating forms or filling something out here, or you're going on site over here. List all the things that you're doing daily for an entire week. So here's the question. Which of those items don't you have to do? That doesn't mean those things don't need to get done. But be really honest. I need you to breathe out. I can feel the tension through the screen. It's okay. Breathe out. Which one of those things don't you have to do? Can you find someone within your organization that already has the skill set to pull that off? Is it something where you can build someone up and train them up to take that over? Or maybe it's bringing in someone from the outside. But here's the thing. If you know how much you're able to produce within the company, if you know what your time is worth, there's a good chance there's some activities that you're doing that you're overpaying for. And in that way, you're stealing from your own company. You're stealing productivity, you're stealing revenue, and you're stealing opportunities from people who could use that work and development. Hey, if you have a friend in business that could benefit from this conversation, go ahead, tag them in the comments or share this to them. Just pause for a moment, send this over. Maybe these are some of the things you've been trying to tell them for a long time and they just couldn't hear it coming from you. Maybe they can hear it coming from me. Go ahead and share. Now that you've identified the things that you don't actually have to do yourself, again, there are things that need to be done, but you don't really have to be the person doing it because it's not a revenue generating activity. Well, now it's time for you to look at that list and start to figure out how can you get those things done? Is it something that you're outsourcing to another person within the organization? Or is this something that can be automated? And what we don't want to do is we don't want to automate things like customer experience. We don't want to have automations that make our customers or clients feel less valuable. But sometimes there are internal things that we can automate, or even some customer touch points that we can automate that actually make it better for the customer. So start to look at technology options as well as humans that can take some of these things off of your plate. So here's a little example for you. I'm a keynote speaker, and oftentimes I speak to different chapters of the National Speakers Association. They ask me to come by and visit because within my industry, I'm known as someone who has really tight systems in my business. My business is very well automated so that I take the entire month of December off every year and I go into the middle of the Amazon rainforest for weeks on end, and my business runs while I'm not here. My team gets everything done. Clients are always well taken care of. So I visit these different chapters and talk about systems. One of the things that I run into quite frequently with very successful speakers is that when you start talking about taking things off their plate, they'll tell you in the onset that they're overworked, they can't scale, they have too much going on. But when you start talking about giving up doing the contracts, giving up doing some of the financial pieces, giving up, and this is the funny one, booking your own travel. I would say probably 99% of speakers I've spoken to, when I talk about having someone else do their travel, you hear an audible gasp in the room. It's, how do you do it? And so what I tell them is booking your flight is not a revenue generating activity. Talking to your clients, creating content for your audiences, these are the types of things that build your business. And so if you're looking for ways to automate, what I tell speakers is, even if you're doing it to someone within your organization, create a decision tree. Now, the challenge with most leaders and entrepreneurs, or leaders obviously, is that they know how to do something, but they don't know how to explain what they're doing. And so what happens is when you give up something like booking your own flights, you actually have to create a decision tree. So for instance, do they go to this website and look for a direct flight with this airline? If your preferred airline does not have that flight, if it's a no, what do they do next? Do they go to this other airline, or do they check here? Okay, if there's a direct flight, do they book it? So there's a whole decision tree you have to create to let people know how to follow your mentality. Are they looking at seats in certain areas? Are they trying to do upgrades? When is it appropriate to put you in first class or pay for that? When is it not? But you just create a decision tree. And if you do that, then someone else can emulate it. But here's the kicker. For you to do that, you have to commit to the process you create. And that's on two levels. One, you actually have to put your thinking down on paper so that someone else can think like you. They're being trained to go through the same process. And then two, once they do that process, you can't babysit them through it. You have to give them the freedom to actually do the process. That doesn't mean you can't tweak the process later. Maybe a hiccup happens and you're like, ooh, no matter what, don't do a connection in this airport or avoid this. But what I've done is over time, I've gotten a lot of speakers to give up doing that in their business because it's not a revenue generating activity. If they know what their hourly fee is, let's say that they charge, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000 for a keynote, or even their consulting fee. Let's say that their consulting fee is $500 an hour. If it takes them 20 minutes to book a flight, it doesn't make sense for them to spend that much money, because their time is money, booking that flight. So not only are they not focusing on revenue generating activities, they're actually taking money out of their business. And so that's what I want you to understand as an entrepreneur. When we are not outsourcing the things that are not revenue generating, we're taking from our businesses. So let's talk about some of those time-saving resources that I love so much. You have websites like Upwork and Guru, where you can hire people that do remote work all over the world. And they can do everything from research to website design, so many things that they can do. Now, if you're going to use one of those sources to hire people, make sure that they have a minimum of at least 100 hours. Sometimes for higher level projects, I want them to have at least 1,000 hours recorded on the platform. You can see how they've been rated by others. You can make sure they've done similar projects in the past. So you don't just hire someone, it's their first day on Upwork, and give them something important, but take the time to kind of look through the process just like you would a new hire in your company, to make sure that the person you're bringing on to do that function is qualified to do it. So again, Upwork or Guru are two great resources. Another one is the Mom Project. That's a website where people, because it's not just women, although many of them are women, people that maybe aren't as active in the workforce, maybe they took time off to have children or raise children or do something else. A lot of these people are people that have held really high power positions, are extremely knowledgeable, and they might be looking for part-time work or contract work, or they might even be looking to be hired full-time by an organization. That's a great resource if you want to hire someone. Two more resources for you. One is Fiverr. That's another resource where you can hire people all over the world to do all kinds of little contract projects starting at just $5. Now, be forewarned, you don't want to hire someone that you're paying $5 or $10 to do all the SEO work on your website. But if you need something small or cute done or interesting done, you can find some really talented people there. And then lastly, the App Store. Go on the App Store and see if there's an app that takes care of some of the things that you're trying to take off of your plate. You might be surprised. I know for me, oftentimes one of the things that gets in the way of me getting things done for business is my home life, right? And I don't mean spending time with family. Those are things that we prioritize, but all the little things. And so I'm known to automate everything. I have laundry services that are used on apps. I have cleaning services that are apps. I have grocery delivery. I have food delivery. It's not unusual for my husband to come home and see a robot or a random human running around at any point in time. He's just used to it now. But it allows me to focus on what I need to get done in business and not be distracted by what's not getting done at home. At the same time, it ensures that I have time to spend time with the people I love the most because I'm not overworked. So outsourcing is a great way to get some of those things off of your plate and again, help you scale by focusing your time on those revenue generating activities. Now, we've talked about giving up non-revenue generating activities to make it easier for you to scale as an entrepreneur. But one of the other things you have to keep in mind is as you're scaling, preparing for the future, we want to make sure that you have the tools and techniques that you need to be strategic. To help you scale, I have a gift for you today, and it's called the Future Ready Playbook. It's chock full of awesome activities as well as worksheets that'll have you thinking more strategically about your organization and what you need to do now to be prepared for the future. So even when times are rapidly changing and there's a great deal of uncertainty, you're still ahead of the curve. To get your copy today, look in the description and click the link.